Okay. And again, if you want her to have everything set up for you before you come to the meeting next time, just let her know your password if you want, and she can have it set up for you, so you don't have to fool with it when you come in. It's up to you. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we're ready?
Yeah, if you guys are ready, I can turn on the cameras.
Yep, go ahead.
All right.
Okay, we're ready.
Then let's call the meeting to order of the Airport Advisory Board. We need a roll call on that.
Yeah. Board Member Dufer,
Present.
Board Member Lambert,
Present.
Board Member Olson,
Present.
Board Member Shear is absent, Board Member Taylor,
Here.
Board Member Thomas,
Present.
Chairman Craig.
Here. Okay, we have a quorum, okay? For second item is order of business, consent items. Consider approval of the regular meeting minutes of October 4th, 21. Excuse me.
I move to approve.
Second. Vote. Oh,
Yes.
Okay, I'll call them. Okay, I'm going to call the votes and take away the suffering here. Board Member Dufer,
Yes.
Board Member Lambert,
Yes.
Board Member Olson,
Yes.
Board Member Taylor,
Yes.
Board Member Thomas,
Yes.
Chairman Craig.
yes. Okay, so that's approved. Okay, next item is information airport manager report.
Good afternoon, everybody. One of the things on my report would be discussing Airy Back. They're now in the hangar. It's almost completely modified or remodeled. Right now, the pavement on the outside of the hangar door is being re-poured so that the helicopter can come through the new storage door. They're actually open for business. They were open sometime last week. They have a helicopter based here now, and they have already been taking flights, so they're already busy.
Is that one of the established?
They had to get established, they had to have their survey. Their survey was done probably close to 2 weeks ago now. And they passed their survey. They had to get the helicopter, and they had to go outfit it. They went to Ardmore and got all their equipment and medicine supplies. They've outfitted the helicopter. It is now here. It's fully crewed. They have 2 crew and a maintenance chief. And so they're actively working. They're here and ready to go. They're excited. I also have it where we're due to put our agricultural lease out for bid. I know Cynthia's already talked about it. We've been looking at it. We might want to discuss maybe some things about the bid. Before it was the contract was on an 8-year contract, I believe. I wouldn't recommend that myself, but it's up to the board. I would recommend something a lot shorter, if even yearly, because of basically the status of the airport right now is we're fully functional. We're growing exponentially. We have a lot of interest in the grounds on the airport from outside entities. And Lisa's working almost daily on some of these companies that are coming in. So I sure wouldn't want to take it, I wouldn't want to lose a potential big company because we have a hay lease that doesn't really make much money. But we can modify leases. There's a lot of ways around that. So those are simple concerns. I guess I could mention the sales were probably a 600% increase over the previous year. And the last 6 months of this year is 160% increase over the first 6 months. So we're growing exponentially in traffic to Durant, fuel cells, ramp fees, a lot of requests for security, for lab service, just a lot of service requests coming in, moving the airplanes around, putting them in hangars, that kind of thing. So we're really doing well. We've got a lot going on and dealing with maintenance issues as they come up. But if you guys have any questions for me, feel free.
How are we on hangar rentals? Are there a waiting list still, or
We always have a waiting list, and it grows all the time. There are some of the people on the list that probably aren't really available. If I call them today, they may not have an aircraft, or they're stationed out of town and couldn't get their aircraft here in a reasonable time. But we usually have 15 to 20 people on the list.
we'll still have a list for it?
We do.
He was talking about do we even get involved in, that's okay. So we don't even need to talk about the agriculture, okay?
No, sir, no.
What is the, how, do you have the number on the gallons that has been sold in the past year, John? Or is it, you just have a dollar figure?
I can get those. I carry the monthly fuel sales off of there with me. I can call in 2 seconds and probably find out what it is.
I was just curious.
Yeah. Well, just to give you an idea, at $4 a gallon for jet fuel, which is our primary fuel sale,
Yeah.
and we can divide it. I could tell you we run less than $20,000 a month off of Hunter Low Lead. So this December, we almost hit 100,000 for the month. Out of that, less than 20, probably far less this time, probably 15, was Hunter Low Lead, all jet fuel, and divide that back, I'll tell you about what we did in gallons. So roughly, I would say, we probably did close to 20,000 gallons, if I was just gonna
Last month.
Last month, yes.
So on a yearly, you're saying 240,000 gallons.
We're moving a lot of fuel, yes.
That's-
And at the rate we're going, it's gonna climb from there.
And that's double for the past 10 years, probably. I mean, we were doing 120,000 gallons a year. So
Yeah.
a significant increase.
Yes.
Wow. That's great.
Is it corporate aviation that you're seeing mostly, or is it
Combination of everything. A lot of private charters. People are starting to use Durant as a pickup for their final destination somewhere else. Florida, Vegas, wherever, Colorado. We're seeing a lot of that. We get a lot of we even get them coming in from just McKinney and doing turnarounds. We're getting a lot of jet traffic that pilots working on their credentials or just time in cockpit, and they're using the airport now for that. Sometimes they fuel, sometimes they don't. The concert seasons help too. A lot of those don't, get a lot of fuel. I mean, they're coming in with a big aircraft, and we're pushing them to get the minimum upload of 200 gallons, and most of the time they weren't going to get that. And so we're talking about $100 ramp fees,
Yep.
which is not a lot of money considering the size of the aircraft. But we're getting a lot of volume of sales of fuel from just transient. We've had Mexico Air in, you probably heard me talk about before, and we're really working with AEG Fueling, where they're sending a lot of aircraft now through here as a fueling port. They like how quick we do it and that kind of stuff. So we're getting a lot of transient fuels.
Our last meeting, we spoke about the Air National Guard, the potential of a temporary tower and fuel cells from that. Have there been any development on the?
Have not heard anything lately. I do know, just off the last time we met, they're gearing up for that big project this year. Was it Kansas or somewhere? Wisconsin, yes. And so that's really what they're doing. This year, they're supposed to be here maybe a couple times this year. Next year will be where they're coming here to be based on a part-time basis.
I understand the city wrote the letter that they requested, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So
And those have been signed and disseminated.
to that, okay.
So that's still in the works there.
Yeah, well, we're pretty much done, just waiting on them. As far as I know, unless James knows anything different, but they're coming. Once they get here, they're working with me on getting the GSA contracts, and they're gonna be our sponsor, which could double, triple our fuel cells we're doing right now.
Nice.
Do your current fuel trucks and tank, are they adequate for the volume of fuel
No.
you're selling? They're not?
No, we need double right now. We're working on 10-day, we're reading it 10 days out, trying to guess when to order. There's many times we've come within 10 or 15 gallons of being empty.
So is that a fuel supply issue, or is it, you
Storage.
just can't take enough?
We just can't take enough.
So do you need a fuel truck or you need a newer fuel truck? Is that what you?
We need a newer fuel truck for a backup and for more storage. Because I really don't, we spend a lot of time maintaining those trucks. If you notice, we haven't heard a lot of a request because we spend a lot of time daily maintaining the electrical systems on that truck. I do have a background in, avionics,
Does
so
the fuel companies you're using, do they have a lease program?
they do. They do. They've already are looking for a truck for us right now, and they're gonna give it to us free for the first year.
Nice.
Can't beat that.
No.
After that, it's about $1,700 a month. But the first year being free is a pretty substantial help for us.
With $1,700 a month, would it be cheaper to take it for that rental or try to work out a buy agreement?
Do the math. Those trucks, you're talking about $200,000 and $300,000 to buy one. Is that what you guess?
Yeah.
You guys have bought them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And how long is it gonna take at $1,700 a month to pay it back? And they're broken by then, and they do the maintenance.
What about the 100 Lola truck? Are we still, is that a long-term goal?
Right now,
for that, or-
they've given it to us on a really inexpensive monthly lease, $350 a month.
Oh, you can't be.
Guys, and they take care of the
Well, I think
maintenance,
if
we
it
can't
stays
beat
on
that.
the lease program too, they'll take care of all the maintenance involved.
That's correct.
So you wouldn't even have to deal with that.
And just to give you an idea, the self-service before, and like you said, was about 100,000 gallons of fuel, right?
30,000.
Thir-
for,
100,000 in sales.
Yeah,
Okay? We're doing double or more than double what was going on just on avgas. Most of that is because we have full service.
really.
Right.
Yes. Each month, we've come close to being the same or even, but the self-service never outperformed the full service.
Really?
No, never.
So you're saying the full service is really?
It's making money, yes. We charge more money for it. We clean the windshields. We do we'll help the pilots however they want to help. And they're,
I'm surprised that.
no. And that's the reason I kind of fought for it. We know how the pilots are, and most of them don't want to do it themselves. There's a few, I mean, we're still selling quite a few
It's a
gallons,
service.
1,800 gallons of, self-serve. Or this last month, was probably, and I'm doing a guess here, although I didn't bring every report I've got, but I can tell you last week we did $1,880 in 100 low lead sales, which is nothing comparable to, this last month at Jet A. Our total sales, like I said, was almost $100,000. So it's a drop in the bucket, but we've doubled that avgas by having full service. More than doubled it.
I'm surprised at that.
Mhm. And we also gain other things out of that, by the way.
What?
Other, ways of charging, because they may have us move it, or if they want to park in a spot and don't want to move it themselves, they're going to pay us to move it when they know we have jets coming in. We ask them to move somewhere else, and they say, well, you just move it, and well, we're going to charge you. Okay. Or we get nightly hangar charges now.
Night rent.
So we have a maintenance hangar for the smaller GA aircraft that we do get some overnight stays where we can make, a little bit of money. Usually we charge $25 a night for a smaller aircraft.
But you're talking about on jet aircraft coming in, no longer, if they don't use any of the services, having a landing fee.
We don't really charge a landing fee to all of them. We're looking at whether they're doing it for commercial business.
Okay.
So if they come in on a charter, or, dropping off passengers that they chartered for, they're getting billed, for a ramp fee for coming on the ramp. Because remember, we're out there marshaling people in and moving other aircraft. So we've got labor involved in
Are
all
you getting
this.
any complaints on that?
No, most of them are thinking we're gonna charge them double what we do.
Yeah, typically corporate pilots, I mean,
Yeah.
we expect it. If we don't buy fuel, we expect we're gonna pay something.
Right.
And so,
There's no, they don't discriminate, they charge you.
Right.
You don't get that, well, you're here for business, they don't get that. They're charging everyone that's
Right.
landing out there. If they don't buy fuel, they get charged. That's the way it is for us. We go
Right.
anywhere, if we don't buy any fuel, and sometimes their fuel's so high, we can't afford to do it just for a rent fee. It's cheaper to pay the rent fee and they move on.
That's exactly
And
right.
they don't need fuel, they're heavy going out somewhere,
That's
they
right.
didn't have a lot of fuel coming in,
And we won't usually ramp charge a privately owned jet. Son brings in a jet to pick up dad to take him somewhere. We're not charging them for that. They're regulars. They come in here all the time. We're charging the commercial ones, the bands that are coming in on a charter, that kind of stuff. And we try to upsell. So we'll talk to the pilots and we'll say, hey, we'd like to have fuel cell, but if you don't want fuel cell, if you don't need any fuel, let's talk about a ramp fee. And usually if I ask them, they're gonna give me a higher price than I was gonna charge them.
Well, the way it works for us is it's based on the size of the jet.
That's exactly
If you
right.
go, like a smaller, just a light jet,
Mhm.
you need to have a light jet, a medium jet, and a heavy jet price.
Right. And I agree with that. We've been trying to get to that. Right now, we've been kind of flat rate, $100.
If you land our jet in McKinney, it's $250.
Yeah,
They don't, no ifs, ands, or buts.
yeah. We had a Challenger
$200.
expecting to pay $500, and we ended up talking him into fuel, but he was expecting to pay a minimum of $500 for the ramp. And right now, we don't have anything broke down by size, of which I'm an advocate for.
So he
So-
bought fuel and was happy.
Yeah, yeah.
That means he'll come back.
Yeah, oh, they're very happy, yeah. We give a lot of service. We unload all the baggage for them. We put them in the cars for them. We even take them to the casino if the shuttle won't show up. The band showed up Friday night, and we ended up having to make 2 runs to the casino valet. That new Sky Tower's quick, close, right there, just go across the road, And we just made 2 loops and got them there before the Choctaw shuttle could even think about being there. And they were in a hurry. I mean, they had 10 or 12 bags, and we couldn't use one vehicle, so we had to use 2. And I do have that one van we have. I haven't even had a chance to talk to James about it yet, but it's in sad shape too. I have to hold the back door, it's gonna bust you in the head.
Well, that's good news. Anything else?
That's all the report I have off the top of my head, unless James had something he wants.
Administration?
Just to kind of give you a quick update, we're still working with KSA. We're still working with KSA on our, is that working?
I don't think so.
Okay.
There you go.
Didn't press hard enough. We're still working with the airport consultant KSA on our AOP, Airport Layout Plan update. We're trying to get everything together for them on what, land we have, where the titles are, everything of that nature. There were 3 pieces that we had to clear up with the FAA, and we got that cleared up. We also, if they get me the information on time, this next council meeting coming up next week, we will have an item on there that they're going to measure the density and calculate the density of the runway. We found out that when we lengthened the runway and had it overlaid, LBR did not do that. Those numbers that they were giving us, they could not certify. So we're going to have that certified to be able to increase the weight load on our runway.
So are we gonna go, after, LBR for, I mean, this isn't a one-time thing, this is multiple times, we've always had problems with LBR. Is there some kind of repercussion that, can be made with them, or?
We did look into if that was part of their scope of work, and it was not.
Oh, so so you can't go after their bond?
I
for it.
cannot.
Wow.
It was not part of that scope of work.
They did core samples on the runway.
They did
That's
core
not
samples.
what we're talking about here.
What we're gonna do is, instead of coring it, since we have the surface like we want it, they're gonna do ground penetrating radar as an option, so we don't have to disturb the runway surface.
Okay.
We think that's a better option.
And you can go up to 6 feet with
That's
that.
correct, yeah. So we think that's a lot better.
So
option.
it might not cost us a whole lot to get that done then.
The FAA is gonna pay for the bulk of it.
Okay.
They'll pay for 90% of it. We'll pay for the other 10 unless they will include it in the COVID package. If they do that, we don't even pay for the other 10.
And this is to
So-
keep our current weight limits. That
It's to increase our
Oh,
current.
it is. Okay.
Yeah,
What are we certified for now?
50,000.
Yeah, 50,000.
Huh?
50,000, yeah.
What's y'all's jet?
Yeah. 22,000,
I mean,
21,000.
what's a 50,000-pound jet?
Gulfstream.
Gulfstream.
Gulfstream, it's smaller?
60,000 pounds, what a Gulfstream could take.
Or if they did, they could do some small airline stuff in there.
Okay.
That would get us, that'd get us way on down the road to taking like the Embraer jets and things that are more of the commercial type airlines.
The problem is whenever you don't meet the weight limit, you have to call and ask permission from the airport manager. And John could give permission to, a Gulfstream coming in above that weight limit. It's just the problem that you go into with that is that they could sink in or into the asphalt. So as it's hot, you can damage some stuff, and
So you can land on the runway, but you can't get on the asphalt.
Yeah, exactly. And our runways.
And that
asphalt
happens quite a
overlay.
bit, by the way. I get a lot of requests.
Is that it?
That's pretty well it, unless you guys have any questions. We are continuing to work to improve the airport facility. As I think y'all notice quite a bit of a difference.
Oh, absolutely.
We're not content with it. We wanna work. John now has another full-time employee. A real personable individual that we were able to put out there, so that gives him 3 full-time and 3 part-time positions. We have 1 open now of our part-timers.
You'll have 3 full-time,
Counting me.
counting you, and 3 part-time.
That's
We have
correct.
2 active part-timers.
What are the hours of the FBO now?
We're 7 AM to, we've dropped it to 6 PM in the evening, but most of the time we have requests at 0600, and we get lots of nighttime requests. We had 53 hours of unscheduled extra hours last month alone.
That was 2 a day.
And that's all hours, you know,
Is that
so,
before midnight, after midnight, or?
any hours of the day. 3 AM, midnight.
Do you get any cross-country refueling?
You talking about GA, or smaller aircraft? That'd be
No, jets.
In the evenings, they're pretty good about calling ahead of time. We may get some, not very much. You know, if they're gonna be late, they'll call us and say, hey, it's 7, can you be there at 7:30? Yeah, we'll be there at 7:30, but, you know, those midnight call-outs for those, no, we don't usually get those.
It's usually a medical helicopter.
Yeah,
Something like that.
and a lot of medical fixed wing
Yeah,
lately,
fixed wings, yeah.
yeah.
What about, our concrete, we had talked in prior meetings about more ramp space. Is that still a ongoing thing? Where-
Yes, we want to get that ALP done. We want to clear up the land, some of the land issues, like I was telling you before. Make sure that what we were deeded, we can account for. We got the original deed from the Department of War in 1947. And over time, there's been pieces that have been sold off or used, but we didn't do the paperwork to clean it up prior to.
Yeah.
So we're going back and cleaning everything up so that we know exactly we're not in violation with the FAA. We know exactly where we stand. And then we are working on that airport structure as a whole, then of saying, we want to make this for business development. We want to make this for corporate jets. We want to make that for GA aircraft. So that's part of that ALP that we want to continue doing that, and that our next project, our next big project, that I have 2. One would be the jet apron, and one would be another jet storage tank with self-service on it.
One thing just to be aware of, like where the benefits of having air evac and any other traffic that we get in, what James is working on, the ALP, Michael is monitoring traffic in and out of the airport, touches. And every time we gain another business, or, for example, air evac's probably gonna help us a lot more than just fuel, because every time they're running in and out and in and out, that's tracked as another touch. They can end up doing as much as the college in touches, which can double those numbers and helps us with the FAA when we start making those ALP requests and other requests that we're trying to do for the larger ramp and, you know, taxiways, that kind of thing. It's all related to the amount of traffic we get in and out.
As far as the FBO is concerned, what, equipment, you said you were doing some lab services. Have they, do you have the lab?
We haven't started the lab service yet. We're getting a lot of requests. I think it would be easy for us, since we have sewer close by and probably just an adapter, you know, where we
You
could.
need a lab, you need a lab.
We need a lav
cart.
carts, all we need, and we, most of us have done RVs before, but there's a little more training involved with the jet, you know, and, you know, pressure, how much, you know, what to put back in, supplies and that nature, but we get a lot of calls now because of the extended jet traffic that we're getting. So that's something we're looking at.
We do a 5-year capital improvement plan for
That'll
the
take care of some of that
FBO,
equipment.
and it's already on there.
Good.
Yeah.
And that'll include like your, GPUs
Correct,
and lab service carts. and
correct.
Just everything you need to run an airport.
Exactly, everything we need as an FBO, yeah.
Have you had any more problems with your phones, John?
Oh, that's every
Like-
day, so,
Okay.
yeah. They're getting better. I will say that, they're getting better. Well, there's a lot of time, I probably haven't even talked to you about it yet. Can't call into the PD. We have lots of problems, interphone use. The city trying to call me, or me trying to call the city, doesn't work a lot. I do get some complaints from David, every once in a while calling in, and the phone won't ring. Our front phone does not ring at all.
Is this voice over IP?
Yes,
So is the fiber will probably help with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
mm. I think that's the reason we're working where we're not getting drop calls. If it gets through, we can hear them.
Yeah.
That part's working good. It's just, you know, little things. It's getting better day to day.
When is the fiber gonna be,
It's
where
there.
it's operational now?
It's hot.
Mhm.
Oh, and you're still having problems with it.
Yeah, we're trying to work the kinks out of it to see.
And is that through Vive?
I believe that is through,
AT&T maybe, yeah.
no,
No? Has it been pulled off of them?
I can't remember which one we did through Vive, I believe.
Now, you're talking about the fiber.
Fiber.
We were talking about the phone. Would that still be any different? Is it all
It's
five now?
It's voice over IP, so.
So it's all
Yeah.
fiber?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think what we figured out is that when he's calling other city departments, or they're calling him, you don't have to dial the number, you dial the extension. As opposed to that.
Well, we're doing it, yeah, it's still not working, but we're trying that. Sometimes it does.
Okay,
But we're also getting outside call problems, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a
Yeah.
problem before,
Yeah.
like go straight to voicemail, even on the,
Yeah, we're sitting there and I go to voicemail. you know.
Okay, is that all? Okay. New business? New business, none? Then we're open for a motion for adjournment.
oh, motion to adjourn.
Second? I'll second. All in favor? Do we need, is that good enough?
Do we have to, oh, wow, sorry. Do we have to log out of this?
Oh, I can take care of that.
Okay, perfect.